Praying First Fruits. This is a chapter by chapter study series, and we are in 1 Kings chapter 9. Is it just me, or is this book going really fast? Last chapter, Solomon dedicated his newly built temple for the Lord. He moved in the Ark of the Covenant, and he dedicated it with a long, beautiful prayer and a festival that lasted 14 days. 1 Kings chapter 9. When Solomon finished building the temple of the Lord, the royal palace, and all that Solomon desired to do, the Lord appeared to Solomon a second time, just as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. The Lord said to him, "I have heard your prayer and petition you have made before me. I have consecrated this temple you have built to put my name on there forever. My eyes and my heart will be there at all times. As for you, if conditional, if you walk before me as your father David walked, with a heart of integrity and in what is right, doing everything I have commanded you, and if you keep my statutes and ordinances, I will establish your royal throne over Israel forever, as I promised your father David, who will never fail to have a man on the throne of Israel. If you or your sons turn away from following me and do not keep my commands, my statutes that I have set before you, and if you go and serve other gods and bow and worship to them, I will cut off Israel from the land I gave them, and I will reject the temple I have sanctified for my name. Israel will become an object of scorn, ridicule among all of the peoples. Though this temple is now exalted, everyone who passes by will be appalled and will scoff, and they will say, 'Why did the Lord do this to this land and this temple?' Then they will say, 'Because they abandoned the Lord their God, who brought their ancestors out of the land of Egypt. They held on to their other gods and bowed and worshipped to them and served them. Because of this, the Lord brought all this ruin on them.'" And 7 years of meticulous building, quiet building, just like that, can become rubble. When I read this, I really did relate. There was a point in my life where I was very on fire for God. And I felt like this temple, beautiful temple, I was serving the Lord, I was living like I should. And then I turned into the prodigal daughter, and it felt like I was a walking rubble case. Rubble on the double. A just destroyed vessel that needed some cleaning up. It's so crazy how you forget who God is. You forget what He has done when your mind is so wayward and going the other direction. You forget about all those good things that He did for you and for us in our life. And we forget how much we need His presence whenever we are seeking and worshiping other things. So we have this confirmation and a very stark warning. Some would call it iffy. No, there's really a lot of ifs though. Next, in verse 10, at the end of 20 years, during which Solomon had built the 2 houses, the Lord's temple, and the royal palaces. Solomon is doing a lot of building, I'm noticing, like a lot. King Hiram of Tyre, having supplied him with cedar and cypress logs and gold for every wish, King Solomon gave Hiram 20 towns in the land of Galilee. So Hiram went out to Tyre to look over the towns that Solomon had given him, but he was not pleased with them. So he said, "What are these towns you've given me, my brother?" Sarcasm. So he called them the land of Cabul, which means worthless, as they are still called today. Now Hiram had sent the king 9,000 pounds of gold. This is interesting because I thought that Solomon was to pay for the wood in food for Hiram's family. I think Solomon racked up a pretty hefty bill. The land was given to Hiram to settle his final debts. The towns were too rural and poor for Hiram. I mean, I would love a town, especially in the country. In verse 15, this is the account of the forced labor that King Solomon had imposed to build the Lord's temple, his own palace, the supporting terraces, the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazor, and Megiddo, and Gezer. I'm going to say that I feel like Solomon is doing too much, especially when it's forced labor. 16. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had attacked and captured Gezer. He then burned it, killed the Canaanites who lived in the city, and gave it as a dowry to his daughter, Solomon's wife. Then Solomon rebuilt Gezer, Lower Beth Horon, Baalath, Tamar in the wilderness of Judah, and all of the storage cities that belonged to Solomon, the chariot cities, the cavalry cities, and whatever Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem, Lebanon, or anywhere else in the land of his dominion. And then towards the end, Pharaoh's daughter moved from the city of David to the house that Solomon built for her. He then built the terraces. Goodness! 3 times a year, Solomon offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings on the altar he had built for the Lord, and he burned incense with them in the Lord's presence. So he completed the temple. King Hiram is apparently still helping him, so the towns weren't enough of a problem to cause him to not be in an alliance with him. This forced labor, we're going to find out more about how it is unpopular and it's condemned by the prophets later on down the road. It seems that Solomon, his ambition is putting a heavy load on these forced laborers. We're starting to see a little bit of Solomon's wisdom slip here. With the giving of the cities that were less than good quality, this forced labor system is not working really well, and it's gonna get to be a big burden for the people who are working under it. And we see God's stark warning. I think God knows what's coming. Okay, I know God knows what's coming. And so often, I think in our own lives, He gives us stark warnings when we're struggling in sin or struggling with things that are going to turn us away from Him. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next 4 a.m. when we cover chapter 10 on Monday.